Hey, what's going on? Sir Blackson97 here, back with another pack break. Today we've got a nice little stack of mail, courtesy of RealGoodDeal. They actually sent in a pretty massive, probably one of our biggest orders we've had so far from TCGPlayer. So, as such, we'll need to divide this up into two parts of a pack break. So stay tuned for part number 2. And as such, we'll jump right into part number 1 with the left side of the RealGoodDeal mail day. Tons of decks, tons of binder pages, tons of power cubes getting filled up. There are cards out the wazoo, hence the need to break it up into 2 piles. So, without further ado, let's get into today's sizable stack, starting with Speedroid Take Tomborg for the Gold Pride deck. Definitely need a bunch of, didn't really have any Take Tomborgs. I had plenty of Terror Tops, but not this guy. So very happy to have him. 5 copies of the first Monarch. Very good for like tribute-focused decks or just obviously Monarch decks in general. Plus it just looks really awesome, like the shadow of Erebus in the background. So definitely had to pick up a few of those. 6 copies of the Monarch's Erupt. Again, really great for tribute-focused decks, especially ones where you don't have cards in the extra deck. Very happy to have a bunch of copies of these, especially since we're making multiple Monarch decks. I'll definitely need multiple Eruptions if I can. 3 copies of the Prime Monarch. This one's also pretty nice, especially when you're sending it to the graveyard with stuff like Aether, the Heavenly Monarch, or Erebus Underworld Monarch. This and the first Monarch is usually what I pitch through his effect of sending 2 Monarch spells and traps. 2 copies of Inzektor Axe Zektahawk for the Inzektor deck. I think I had tons of the Inzektor Zect Caliber sword, but don't have the Zektahawk or the Zect, I believe it's the Zect crossbow. There's at least one more equip spell that I still got to get, so very happy to have that at least. Archphoenix for the new Dreamer deck, utilizing stuff like Shadow's Light, so very happy to have this, along with, I forget the other spell that works with light and dark monsters, but Archphoenix will definitely come in handy with that as well. For just the general collection, 2 copies of Megalith Fool. Moving into Infernoid territory, we have Void Launch, which just has like such a cool artwork. This one probably won't be running in the deck, but it just looks super cool to have, so had to pick up a playset while I could. Next we have 2 Ninjutsu Art of Transformation. Surprisingly, I didn't have too many copies of this, but it's probably the most like recognizable ninjutsu art card that I remember, so definitely had to pick up a few more copies of this for sure. 3 copies of Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning. Probably one of my favorite, just like cards from Chaos Impact, but this is the Toon Chaos reprint, but still super iconic card, just looks incredibly awesome. Definitely one of my personal favorites as well. 2 copies of Gearbreed. I just like it. It's just such a funny and entertaining card for me. Like, you get to select equip spells instead of conducting your normal draw phase, but it also just looks cool, the little branching weapon tree in the artwork. Light Pulsar Dragon. Same thing, I'm getting Archphoenix-centric. Light Pulsar Dragon is going to be super handy in the Dreamer deck. And then last but not least, 6 copies of Pot of Desires. I've been running low on Pot of cards, and obviously Triple Tactics sound is nice, but figured I'd start collecting more copies of Pot of Desires just for that budget sort of draw power option while I still can. That'll do it for today's pack break. Big thanks again to RealGoodDeal on TCGPlayer for sending this in. Remember, this is just part 1, so stay tuned for the next stack of cards next time, as believe me, there's a ton more to go through. So, as always, we'll see you all next time and hope you enjoyed.